I'm Charles Mason, and I have a long history of fertiliser in sales in Herefordshire, where I started work many years ago, and I had my own fertiliser firm, now ably run by my family, so that's great family continuity. And I've started at a great age a new and exciting venture in cross-compliance paperwork for farmers all over the country. Cross-compliance Solutions started in 2009 when I incorporated the company, but I had been doing similar work since 2005 when my customers, fertiliser customers in Herefordshire, asked me to look at their NVZ and their soil management and related items, because as you can imagine, this isn't the most popular pastime for hard-working farmers who prefer to be out in the field with their crops and their livestock, and when they come in at 10 o'clock at night they don't especially want to start working out the various ratios of NMAX and farm loading and similar things. So I took that on. By 2009 it was obvious to me that we could serve customers in a proper and meaningful and useful way and protect them from deductions on the single farm payment. It's now called the Basic Payment System. It doesn't matter, same donkey, different saddle. It's all about keeping the subsidy going while keeping the paperwork free from difficulties with an RPA inspector. So deductions can follow if there is no paperwork or if the paperwork's dodgy, and our specialism has been to refine all that so that if we do your paperwork will pass. I'm Charles Mason, and I started a firm a few years ago called Cross-Compliance Solutions. We began in 2009 and we were pretty humble beginnings then, but even then there were breaches in cross-compliance regulations, just as now, that farmers have to be careful of. It might be a matter of too much chicken litter applied to a field. It might be a matter of it being spread too close to a watercourse. It may be a matter of ploughing too close to the hedge and destroying the protection zone, or it might be completely unrelated, a matter of animal movement regulations not being properly recorded. There are further items often to do with fertilisers and manures, but also spray records. The field is very wide, and it's notable in inspections that you could almost find you're overwhelmed with them coming at you from every angle. A full cross-compliance inspection can take a long time, and certainly you need a complete sense of paperwork, complete set of paperwork, so that you can have all your answers in one place and pass your inspection.
On the site of Clearflow's latest on-site anaerobic digestion plant here in Aspatria in northern Cumbria, and on the site we're taking cheese residues from the factory just down the road, and we're turning them into bioenergy, which is then fed back into the factory to make the cheese. So we have a circular economy system here where we're using the residues from cheese production to produce bioenergy or renewable energy to then go into manufacturing cheese. At the far end of the site there are two open-top tanks which are part of the later stage of the process, but the material comes into the site at that end, into a sump, it's pumped up to this end here and is fed into these two large grey domed tanks. And they can be seen from quite a long way around the area. They're 18 metres high, and they are the anaerobic digesters. So they are the sort of the guts of the process. That's where the digesting is done, and that's where the biogas is produced. The biogas
the power, is it?
Well, the biogas is used to turn into energy. So it's got an energy value. That's stored in the top. If you look up through the tanks, the top third is used for gas storage. And then the building here is the process management building for the process. So we have some chemicals, we use various chemicals to help the process, and they are stored and fed into the system from there. We have the office where we have the computer screens to manage the tank. Everything's done. There are many more people on the site at the moment because we have various engineers fitting out bits of kit and working on the site. But at the end of the day, when all the others have gone, there'll be 4 Cumbrian guys running the plant for us, with some supervision from some of my technical. Clearflow is a small British company. We're based in Bracknell, Berkshire, but we operate all over the UK. This is our first project in Cumbria, hopefully there'll be more. But we've also built plants in Scotland in the whisky industry, We're building plants in the vegetable processing sector, and we've got a plant at Newcastle for our Nestle site. And we basically build mini bioenergy plants which we put on factory sites. So they are part of the factory effluent management process, but they're allowing the factory to replace fossil fuel with bioenergy to manufacture, in this case, cheese or whiskey or confectionery or whatever the product is. And so it's the circular approach to the management of business, where you take the residues that are produced in the production process and you take the energy value out of those residues and use that energy to contribute towards the energy that's required to make the product in the first place.
And this presumably saves the hassle of trying to move whatever product is left over off-site and dispose of it in another way.
Absolutely, and even if it's a product that has another use, it has to be taken off-site. So before we came onto this site, they were shipping whey products to other sites for other processing tasks. So there were quite a lot, 2 or 3 lorries a day going off-site, taking whey away from the site. Those lorries now are not required, so there's less fuel used in the transport of the material, and there's less fuel used in the actual treatment of the material. So instead of using fuel to process the materials, we're actually generating energy that can replace replace fossil fuel-based energy.
It's a win-win, isn't it? The creamery must be delighted.
The creamery are pleased because they're saving on their fuel costs, and they're also saving on their effluent treatment costs. We're obviously pleased because this is a wonderful plant which we're very proud of, and we hope that we'll be able to sell other plants to other creameries, not only in the UK, but also possibly one day elsewhere in Europe.
Tell me how innovative this idea is, because this is the first plant in Europe, isn't it, to process in this way?
This is pretty innovative in the sense that anaerobic digestion is an old technology. They've been using it for many years, but it's taken a while to develop the technology to the point where it can be used on industrial sites. We can't have the situation on a factory like this, that if the AD plant isn't working, the factory wouldn't be able to run. So you need a robust technology, and what Clearflow have done is taken an existing technology, made it more robust, made it more reliable, and it's hard to believe when we're on a site which is actually quite a big site, actually compress the technology onto a relatively small footprint so that we can fit it on the space available to factory sites.
Power-wise, what you're producing goes towards then powering the creamery and also helping out in terms of power within Cumbria.
Biogas here. The biogas is turned into biomethane, which means we take out the impurities, and that biomethane goes into the gas grid. So it goes into the general distribution system. It's taken out by the factory, who buy the gas from the gas grid, but also householders in Cumbria, householders in Aspatria, other businesses that use gas have the ability to take that gas, and they're substituting it for natural gas.
How many houses in Cumbria could be powered by this plant?
We were asked that the other day, and we calculated we think 40,000 houses in Cumbria could be powered using the gas from this site.
And that's over a year?
Over a year.
Wow, that's amazing.